Sadistic Penguin Studios presents It's Getting Drafty in Here.
Drafty old porno.
The show of drafting random nonsense.
I choose business ethics.
And now, coming to you from his basement, a.k.a. Draft Headquarters, your host and draft master, Magnificent Stan.
Hello, welcome to episode 65 of It's Getting Drafty in Here. I am your host, Magnificent Stan. Today is Tuesday, January 28th, 2025. And today we're going to go back into the realm of music. We're going to be drafting our own supergroups. So if you look at the board, we have lead singer, lead guitar, rhythm guitar, bass, and drums. Joining me are a cup of penguins this week. We got Roxy's back. What's going on, Rox?
Hello, friends. Life is a never-ending journey of shit. But the day's better because I'm hanging out with you two. So,
thank you.
Don't complain.
Thank you.
You're the
next
best.
hour after that.
I thought you were going to read the lyrics to Life is a Highway, but
You know.
Also joining us, host of At the Show podcast, as well as Hook Up on Music, our guy Tony B, the Sugar Baggy, is back.
Hello, everyone out there. How's it going? Ready to draft some amazing musicians tonight, like Liberace, I think. No, hopefully I didn't give anything away.
We did have a Liberace conversation yesterday, didn't we, Tony?
We did, and I'm glad you laughed, because who doesn't like some good Liberace?
Tony is probably the most qualified to be on this show out of the three of us.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's good that we're able to.
What's exciting is that whoever you pick, we can just go on, which we're not, because I know you got work you got to do, but we could talk about anybody that I'm sure we're going to be picking tonight.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I'm just going to pick each and every member of Crash Test Dummies. That was my plan. Canada's finest band.
Hey, as long as you don't pick Geddy Lee, you can pick whoever you want.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. That's the one rule. We can pick anybody we want except Geddy Lee.
Yes.
So that was Roxy's rule. So if you're a Rush fan, Roxy doesn't like Rush.
Rush as a sound, instrumental, the music, great. And then Geddy just opens his mouth and you're like, what's really going on here? But I appreciate what he does for whoever likes them.
I love them, but you know what? The thing about it all is that's why I love music. You know what I mean? If we were in sixth grade in the same class and you said that, I'd start arguing whoever, even though I liked the band that you would like, I would have started picking on them because now you've picked on a band that I like, which is awkward when you have to start making fun of things that you enjoy just to make a point.
Well, and I think too, before we jump into it, like just his ability to just like his lyrics and just what he's able to do in synchronization with the instruments themselves are like a great example of how you don't need to be like very aesthetically pleasing when it comes to music. You guys laugh, but I think Kendrick Lamar is a great example of that. Like his voice aesthetically does not sound super like it's pretty off in comparison to like just what other people would consider more mainstream, but his lyrics are hit really well. And
what about like Billy Corgan?
So I think
Billy Corgan's voice could fall into that category.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Especially if you watch the Winter Classic this year. Was he sick or something? What was that exactly?
Probably.
That's not a song really you should be like. That always thought that's like more of a studio intimate song to be playing. Like they should do something a little more rocking.
Which one did he do?
What was it? Tonight, I believe.
Tonight, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I wouldn't have
you should have done something off of Siamese Dream.
That's what I mean. Something where you just get the guitars and rock.
Yep. Cool.
Bill Burr's brother. All right. All right. Tony, you won the lottery. You got the first pick. What do we got?
All right. I am going to start with bass guitarist, and I am going to be going with Les Claypool of Primus.
You son of a bitch. Nah, he was.
It's really the only one that I think anybody else would pick, and it would have been you. So I had to go for it here.
That was my number one.
The main overall vibe I'm going to be going for with my band is kind of like a funky, can do anything. Yeah. I like players in the band who can do multiple different things. Les every now and then can play a little bit of keyboard, and he can also sing too, which you're going to want his ridiculous vocals going on in the background in this band.
Oh yeah, if you get something real funky and kind of out there, he's perfect.
It's more of the idea of thinking about these guys in a room together trying to create music is what got me excited tonight.
Yeah. You know, he tried out for Metallica once.
He did. He sure did.
They told him no. They told him no, but because he was too good, not because. Yeah.
We went to high school.
With Kirk, right? Didn't you go to high school with? Yeah.
Yep. So
small fucking world there, right?
Definitely.
Now with Les, are you more well versed with Primus stuff, or have you ever listened to like the Lennon Claypool Delirium or any of that stuff?
I've pretty much dug into all of it. Okay. I mean, of course, Primus is what I've listened to the most. Yeah. But like the Flying Frog Brigade is really good stuff.
The Duo de Twang stuff is awesome too. Yeah. He's got so many side projects. He's wild.
96 or 97, he came out with a side project called Sausage, which only had one album. That was really good. But Les can play with anybody. You had brought up Rush 2 years ago after a couple years ago after Neil Peart had passed away. They went on a tour and did a whole Rush album. What you're saying yourself?
Yeah, I actually had tickets for that, but I got COVID.
Well, and I believe the original tour was held off because of COVID. So it was just an unfortunate timing on the thing. But
what album?
His vocals actually nailed it. Probably you would have enjoyed a lot more than Geddy's stuff.
Oh, his vocals are very unique, man. He's very
they're very unique.
I would love to see him just join like a bluegrass band for a couple of weeks and just pick away, you know?
It real quick, it was the only band for some unknown reason. My dad's like, you can't own Primus. And I'm like, why? And he goes, they suck. He goes, they suck. And then all of a sudden, he's like, you ever hear the song called Shake Hands with Beef? I need you to get me the CD. And I'm like, Primus? He's like, yeah. And I go, you told me I can't listen to them. He goes, yeah, forget what I told you. They're cool now. I'm like, what the fuck? But that's Les Claypool.
When I'm playing with Huckleberry, my dog, for people that don't know, I always sing "Too Many Puppies."
There you go.
Great song. All right, Roxy, number 2.
Hi. So Yump, I think the better question is, what am I not eating? But I'm very sorry if you hear my snacking. So unlike Tony, I have essentially no strategy when looking at people. I just looked at names and I was like, you know what, that sounds pretty good on paper. So for my drummer, I am taking Animal.
Oh, nice.
Well, you just got my buddy Kevin's vote because
I thought I was gonna be like real hot and just be like cool before anybody says anything. There were obviously quite a few other people that I put on here, including being younger than you guys, I think it'll be interesting to see how that kind of impacts our picks. But for me, I don't want to just pick somebody that I know is good, but I've never really listened to. Sure. So for me, Dave Grohl would admittedly be pretty high on the list. I think he's good overall, but he's just somebody that I've listened to quite a bit. John Bonham, obviously, pretty high on the list too, but and then Alex Van Halen and stuff like that. But Animal just has that wow factor, and he was ballsy enough to take on David Grohl in the little matchup. So I think if you have the balls to do that, considering how good Grohl is at drumming in itself, then you can go up there and just wing it in front of anybody. So he's my pick.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny about Dave Grohl? Real quick, the Animal pick is phenomenal. I love Animal. Is my favorite Muppet probably. And next week on Drafty Pod we will be discussing Muppets, so that's perfect segue there. But Dave Grohl, if you talk to other musicians, they think Dave Grohl's a very talented drummer. If you talk to Dave Grohl about drumming, he says he's so bad and he's very basic. He says that he stole for Nirvana. He stole everything from like 70s funk from like the Gap Band and like Tony Thompson and stuff like that. So it's pretty funny that he is the biggest critic of himself. So, but yeah, Animal's phenomenal. Are we taking Dr. Teeth next?
I don't know anything about music, and then you throwing around names like Tony Thompson, like everybody knows who that is. You know what I mean?
Sorry. We're all in our 30s and 40s. I don't think people know.
Thank you for adding 30s.
Like let's start talking about Earth, Wind, and Fire. And we're like, why are we talking about natural disasters? But all right. I'm gonna go ahead and get my two guitarists out of the way. So my lead guitar, it's also a phenomenal singer, but I'm gonna just take him as my lead guitarist. He before the draft started, he did have to purify himself on the shores of Lake Minnetonka. I'm going Prince. He would have been, if I had the first pick in the draft, I would have taken Prince 1-1.
Sure.
If you've ever heard him just fucking shred, it's insane. I could have taken him as my bass either. Like that's how talented that guy is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he's a hell of a basketball player as well. He's very good at making pancakes for his friends. So, and if you've ever heard the story about Jimmy Fallon playing ping pong with Prince, it's even funnier. But yeah, just a tremendously talented human being. Obviously, gone too soon. I feel like he rose in an era that he probably shouldn't have rose in, and he probably should have come out like 10 years or 15 years before that, or 15 years after. So I'm going Prince with my lead guitar. Rhythm guitar, I am going to go with Malcolm Young of AC/DC. Just these two working together is going to be interesting.
That's where I start laughing right there.
The funny thing about Malcolm Young is he wrote most of the solos that his brother did. Like most of the stuff you see Angus doing, Malcolm Young did, and he created it for his brother and for the band. The guy kept the pace on a band that, I mean, they are a little one-dimensional. AC/DC, am I right, Tony?
I hate to. I love, like, if you ask me who two of my ultimate favorites are, it's AC/DC and Prince. But it's hilarious because they both work in two different ways. Malcolm is amazing rhythm guitar player, but as you stated, it's all going like down the track one way. Prince, I mean, he's like, who you stole my lead guitar player, by the way, which you could have seen the rhythm that I was going to be bringing, which is amazing now that you have them pushing and pulling. Pretty interesting here. I like this.
Yeah, I think they might get into a couple of fights, but I think they'll work well together. Because like I said, Prince is so tremendously talented, he could play probably anything, anywhere, anytime. Wait till you see who I'm picking for my bass. It's all gonna kind of make sense then. But,
all right.
I love a system.
Hope I don't think Roxy's gonna take my bassist, but we'll see. But he'll work really well, especially with Prince. So
Yeah,
Are we gonna name our bands afterwards, by the way?
We could, yeah. I do like that idea.
Yeah.
So it's my turn. Oh yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yes,
fantastic. I'm gonna also do my rhythm guitar, mostly because for my list at least that was the shortest. So I want to just and mine's James Hetfield.
Yep.
Just not only do he and Animal just vibe off each other, I think it's worth mentioning that I think his rhythm guitar is far superior in metal, but then when you get to rock, it leaves a little bit. But I find that their newer albums more obviously venture into the more rock realm than the metal from their origin. So I think it's just showing that, we're looking at over 50 years of shredding at this point. It's like standing the test.
Yeah.
being able to stand the test of time. And then you mentioned with Malcolm, they're kind of like one trick pony kind of concept. Like as good as that is, I think Metallica itself has been able to kind of break through the threshold that is different sounds and whatnot. And James just leading the way without any sort of, hesitation, I think speaks to his abilities. Plus he can slide into that lead singer role also, obviously with such ease, not who I would have picked, but just to know that there's that flexibility, I think makes it.
Well, and the cool thing about him too is he and correct me if I'm wrong, Tony, but doesn't he have like most of the hand in the composition?
Yeah, he's a lot like
Okay.
Malcolm Young, where he is the one who sends the tapes out of the original riffs that they're going to be playing off of. He is the man, as you stated. He is. Mm-hmm. I can't say enough about James Hetfield. Yeah. Very first tape I ever owned was Metallica. Very first CD, Metallica.
Which album?
Excellent pick.
Yeah, which album, Tony?
Oh, which album on tape was the Black Album? The year it came out, and then CD. I remember it was for Christmas. It was actually Back in Black, Ride the Lightning, and Injustice for All. And Christmas Eve, and then at my aunt's, and then I woke up the next morning and had Master of Puppets. So it was pretty much a murder's row of the best.
Happy Metallica miss.
Which real quick to go off the beaten path, the students at school, there's a kid who wears Metallica all the time, and when he doesn't listen, I just talk to him in Metallica lyrics. And it's pretty original because nobody else really would ever do that. And he just like looks at me, but that's they're very
any way to get through to him, right?
That's it.
I just dicking around on Instagram one night and like dicking around my reels. I saw a clip of Metallica when they were on Howard Stern and they're getting interviewed, and they played a clip for the band of Elton John talking about how tremendously amazing James Hetfield is at composition, and he talked about Nothing Else Matters is the most perfect song ever created. And like by the time they finished watching the clip, James is like just tears. Right. Like he's the guy that suffered for his art. And while I don't love a lot of Metallica's stuff, especially after the Black Album, I still, they're doing their thing,
Well, for me personally, I'll just speak from that, being there when the Black Album came out. It's kind of hard when you love a band to just kind of turn them off once you love them so much. Like I'm sure a lot of people say bad things about Ghost. Maybe their music is changing, but if you love them so much, you're going to ride it with the band. And I've always ridden with Metallica, and I do agree that their older stuff is better, but there is a lot of good songs on a lot of those later albums too. So it's a double-edged sword. And as you get older, what are you going to do? How fast can you always keep it? And that's what I've always said.
Right. No, I hear you. All right, Tony, you got two here.
All right.
Yeah.
You've taken Prince. What do I do for lead guitar? All right, I'll go Eddie Van Halen.
Almost took him as my rhythm.
And honestly,
because technically he's both, because they typically only used you had one guitar.
And honestly, I have to bring this up because it was within the last year, Roxy, you had posted about the Right Here, Right Now live album. And when I saw that you posted that, I wish you were with the smile on my face lit up so big because not a lot of people talk about that album. But I remember when that one was released, and man, I really love Van Halen. And lately, I get into Sammy Hagar, David Lee Roth. I have really it's another thing where you could go and argue about it. I'll just jam out to both of them and listen to them very loud. In this band, definitely Eddie can play anything, kind of like Prince. So that's kind of like, obviously Beat It. Which
his background's phenomenal though. Like his background in music, like his parents were like weird savants, and they kind of pushed it on him, and he became one of the greatest ever,
And to be frank, he doesn't get talked about enough, but his brother Alex's drum sound is unique to its own too, if you really listen to it. So a very unique pair of brothers.
Yeah, I definitely agree, Tony. Just especially going off of the Hagar Van Halen concept, I think in itself. People are so fixated on the singer aspect to where you're completely skipping over the idea that just in itself, Eddie Van Halen provides incredible guitar throughout every album. Like one of my favorite from them is Full for Unlawful Carnal Knowledge.
Oh yeah, great album.
And like Run Around, for example, is one of my favorite
great
off of there. Just the way that starts is tremendous. And I think just when, like, it's almost as if they know that Eddie's going to give them solid guitar each time. So that's why, obviously, the singing is where it, like, divides people. But at the end of the day, you're getting Eddie Van Halen for, like, however many fucking albums they have. And that's like, you can't go wrong. You can't.
You know, when you bring up For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge, I think of, you know, the summer in '94. Every carnival I went to, the carnies would be blasting, you know,
that is
Run Around, Top of the World, Right Now, and it was like on the Himalayan going super fast. And I was like, man, this is the coolest ever. But yeah,
Hell yeah.
great album. But yes, he will be my lead guitarist. And
have either of you heard the Eddie Van Halen story with Fred Durst?
Oh yeah.
Roxy, have you ever heard that one?
I don't think so, actually.
So Eddie Van Halen went over to Fred Durst's house to jam one day, and he like left his guitar there, and it was like a couple guitars, and they're like really expensive, like famous guitars, and he left them there because he was going somewhere, whatever. He calls like a week later. He's like, hey, I'm going to stop over and grab my guitars. And Fred Durst is like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking. I don't have your fucking guitars. And they got into like a fight. And Fred was just fucking with him. But Eddie, you don't mess with Eddie Van Halen. He's a collector of wartime memorabilia. Is that right, Tony?
Yeah. Yes.
He literally showed up to Fred Durst's house in a fucking tank. He like drove over his like gate in a tank and like parked in front, and he like Fred Durst opened the door. He's like, give me my fucking guitars. So yeah, Eddie Van Halen. Like I think it's like part of like a sense of humor as well as being a little crazy. So
to a little bit more into the story is Eddie at this point is really, really cracked out. Like he is doing a lot of hard drugs. And when he goes over to Limp Bizkit Palace, they're all smoking. And it really pisses Eddie off because Eddie doesn't do that, which is odd because he does the really hard stuff, but it pisses him off when people are smoking weed. So it really enrages him. So he just fucking leaves his shit there. And he's like, I want my shit back. But he just kind of like fucking left it there. It was very awkward situation.
He probably, like the way he told the story or the way that it was told to whoever, I think I heard the story like third hand on like a podcast or something. I think there was a certain level of mania going on in his brain at that point as well.
Yes, so, that's where the point.
So yeah, it's not just that like Fred Durst was being an asshole or anything. It's that Eddie Van Halen had convinced himself that
there you go. Yes.
You know, something had gone wrong. But, all right, Tony.
All right. Let us go. Where am I going to go now? You know what? Let us go with rhythm guitar. Okay. And we're going to go with Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age.
Very nice. Very good. I love them.
Spell that right?
Because again, like Hetfield, he's going to bring, you know, all the songwriting chops. He could sing. You know, he can do a whole lot of different stuff in this band.
Absolutely. Yeah. They're like, I feel like they're one of those bands you either love them or don't. I think they're fantastic. I've seen them a handful of times. I know Josh as a person people have strong opinions about him as
he's very eccentric though. Like it's not just like when he talks politics, I don't think he's fully like knowledgeable about it, but he wants to sound like he is, you know.
Oh my god, that's like 85% of the people you communicate with in everyday life,
pretty much.
But yeah, I think one of the things I remember for him was that he like injured some photographer because when he was on stage, he like kicked one of the speakers or something. It was basically like
something toppled on the guy.
Yeah, or something like that. I think he's one of those people that's just like, if you just appreciate him as a musician, you're gonna like him far more than if you really like look into who he is as a person. But yeah, I think.
Are you going to that show of his coming up?
No, so we had I'm sorry, like his or Queens, the ones that
Queens of Stone Age.
So we were, so I was supposed to go last year, but then obviously they rescheduled it, and that's the weekend we're going to see Hugh Jackman.
Oh, well, of course you went.
That's what I'm meeting Hugh Jackman. It's the best fucking day.
Even better.
So yeah, I will not be there, but if anybody goes, please. I've seen them before. I saw them the most recent time. I don't care about that. It was Q101 had one of their Christmas shows. It was them and Run the Jewels.
I was there too. Yeah,
it was so good.
It was a great show. Excellent.
Absolutely fantastic.
Run the Jewel was
just
very
two bands you would never think are going to be in the same building together, and then they were. It was great.
I want to say Josh did some stuff for them too, though. I'm pretty sure he did some work for them on one of their albums.
I'm sure, yeah,
because he likes to do that. I think he did some stuff with Arctic Monkeys and shit like that.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I think and Run the Jewels collabs a lot. They have a lot of good collaboration with so many different people. All right, my turn. So,
real quick with Josh Homme, did you guys ever listen to any of them Crooked Vultures stuff?
Oh,
Speaking
great
of like
album.
super bands,
great album.
So good.
It's funny.
You ever heard that, Rox?
You don't. I have heard of it, but I haven't listened to it. I do think it's
Dave
kind
Grohl,
of
real good too.
Because you don't even need to like ask Tony if he has. You just should ask him what he thinks about it.
That's a good point.
We don't need to
clarify. My life. It's so tough.
All right. So I was gonna go also lead guitar, but I think for my picks, there's still obviously since it's still available. I have some options. I'm still rummaging through though, like just really trying to think of who I want for bass. But I'm gonna do bass and I'm gonna do Geezer.
Nice.
I think like
band I can get behind.
Yeah, I just think like just Black Sabbath in itself is just so fundamental, obviously. Like it doesn't need to be explained. I'm gonna do such a poor job of it, but I just think the way in which he was able to it's dark, it's spooky, it's like it's eerie, and there's just the way that they're able to make that work. I think this dude is just like a foundational piece. So I'm glad we had the discussion of if you could include folks that were still like we're still alive, but I was like, oh well, Geezer's here still, so we're good. I ain't gotta worry about that.
It would be really cool to like be a fly on the wall when Black Sabbath was formed, because like each and every one of those guys are considered like the godfather of metal for each piece of the band, you know.
Oh yeah.
So good.
It's
great,
very
great
very interesting is that Geezer Butler actually wrote a lot more of the lyrics than Ozzy did, especially on the first couple albums. So he's very important in this band too, because you got Hetfield, him, Animal. Wow.
Yep. Thank you, Brian.
I still love that you picked Animal. That's phenomenal.
Thank you. Well, I mean, like I will say, like in my opinion, I don't think the guitarist can like really make or break the sound. I personally do think it's the drumming, and I think that just because of like what it goes into, especially like metal and even just like all the way to just your simple rock and roll. I think there's just so much variation even within those two that do overline a lot. So I think that would have kind of made or broke my future picks. So that's why I just went with Animal. It's just a safe pick.
Sweet. Very good pick. Okay, I mentioned that I had a bass pick in mind that would go perfect with Prince. I think I'm gonna pull off of that. No, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna go. I don't even know if some people even know who this guy is. I know Tony will. I know some other people will, but I'm going Bootsy Collins, man. Prince and Bootsy Collins need to be on the same fucking stage at the same time. Don't you agree, Tony?
I would agree. I would definitely agree. Bootsy was definitely going to be part of my band if Les was taken.
The aesthetic.
You ever see him
alone-
live?
The Parliament, no, but I wanted to.
I saw him play with D-Light. It was fucking cool as hell.
Oh yeah.
It's very cool.
Groove is in the heart. Groove is
Very,
in the
very, very long
heart.
time ago, but
I
he's
could
he's a monster of a man too. Like I don't know how tall he is, but I
6'2".
remember like looking at him. Is he only 6'2"? Okay,
yeah, it says it right.
Look-
I just looked.
he looked
him
like he
up.
was 6'8" on stage. Maybe he was wearing his platforms. No, he's
Yeah.
probably wearing like platform shoes that were like 8 inches tall.
See, everything
But-
with
but
music for me is like it all started like at 8 years old, and like every year it's just more and more. I remember a neighbor across the street when I was 9 had those D-Light CDs, and I was like, "What is this?" And now you bring up Delight again. Look at that. Groove is in the heart. That's a good song. Brian is
Okay.
invited to the barbecue.
I'm invited to Jack's barbecue. That's good. He's got
What's
enough.
funny, though,
He's
real
got enough
before you
meat in his
go on.
freezer. You know.
Imagine Malcolm Young standing in between Bootsy and Prince on stage. This is getting awesome.
Well,
They get
wait till I pick my drummer right now. So I'm going with this guy's my favorite drummer today. I wanted to grab at least one guy that's still actively performing, and I am going to go with Danny Carey from Tool.
Ooh, nice.
Cool. Very cool.
He's basically the harder version of Neil Peart, in my opinion. That guy has a kit that's
Ooh.
fucking out of control.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I fully don't expect people that are going to be just eyeballing this and voting at the end go, who the hell's that? But hopefully they look them up and hopefully they listen to some Tool because Jesus Christ, are they good? One of the best live experiences ever.
I've heard really good things.
Even though you never get to see Maynard, he stays off stage the whole time.
He's
But
really stage fright or something.
it's no, you know what? And the way he explains it, he says that he doesn't want to be the focal point. He wants his guys to be the focal point. And
Which is funny
don't-
because, like, who the fuck? Why would he think that he's the focal point? Bold assumption on his part.
Right. But I feel like Danny could play anything. And if you listen to Tool kind of pulls into a number of different genres when you listen to them, especially like their latest stuff is just all it's wild. It's like 30-minute opus songs,
Well, Danny
So-
also currently was filling in because they're currently looking for a new drummer, Primus. He's filled in a couple times. He's also just got done with the tour with King Crimson, some of those guys. So he's well versed to do a bunch of different stuff.
Yep. I didn't know about the King Crimson. I knew I had heard the Primus stuff, but I didn't know that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it actually came to
That-
the casino over here in Hammond, which would have been pretty awesome to see.
Hell yeah.
Right on. All right, Rox, what do you got? None of us have taken a singer yet.
No, I feel like you gotta wait till the very end for that. So I don't know, because I got a couple still, but I feel like at a certain point I do want there to be some kind of aesthetic like alignment. I kind of see where you guys are going with yours, but I do kind of like it being a little bit all over the place. So since you picked is it Bootsy? Is that exactly right?
Yep.
I am also going to continue the top hat, and I'm going to pick Slash.
Nice.
Slash and Hetfield together? That's wild.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think there needs to be much explanation. I think you guys understand where we're going with it.
Animal is totally becoming an alcoholic, I'll tell you that.
I think Slash is actually sober now.
Yes.
I think he has to be sober now because
They're like, you literally do not have a choice.
like, you do not have a liver anymore. Like, you
It says
need to
he's
stop.
been sober for almost 20 years.
Wow. Good for him.
Yeah.
He's a monster.
Cold November rain. I love November rain. You got any vinyl, Guns N' Roses vinyl, Brian?
I do. I have both the Use Your Illusions.
Nice.
I do have Appetite. I have like a special edition one. And then I did recently pick up Velvet Revolver. So
Hell yeah. We love Velvet Revolver. I
That was awesome.
fucking love Scott Weiland.
Amazing.
So good. So good. Like, which one?
All right. My turn.
Did Brian freeze? I think he froze. Or he's very, very perplexed at what I asked him.
Are you typing? Are you there, Brian?
No, he out. Where's he at? I wonder if his internet went out.
All right. So,
are you gonna pick yours? Or you?
Yeah, I guess I'll pick mine while we sit and wait here for him to come back.
Cool.
We are going. Oh, you put Earth to Brian. It's like Earth to Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's back.
Well,
hello.
Only 65 episodes. That's the first time that's happened to me.
We were wondering what happened because I remember asking you.
You guys both rose at the same time, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" You know?
Yeah, it was just funny because I was like asking you a question about your Revolver album, and you like didn't answer, and I was like, "Oh shit, are we just like moving on?"
All right. So Velvet Revolver. Yes, I did just recently pick up the album, and it's like a special edition one. The second one's got a bunch of like live covers on it too. So there's like I'll have to.
But is it Contraband or is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because there's also, I think it's like pronounced like Libertad.
Yeah, that's the second one.
That one's good too. I like that one a lot.
Scott Weiland performed with his band at the club down the street from my house like a week before he died.
Oh.
Oof.
Missed that show. All right. Who's up here? Oh, Tony, you got your last two here.
Yeah.
All right. You know, I was thinking about, this drummer here. I think he can do anything. He is the drummer from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Chad Smith, which I think pretty much like just watching him play. And he also has a band called Chicken Foot with Sammy Hagar and Joe Satriani.
Mm-hmm.
He can hold down the beat in just about pretty much anything that the Chili Peppers are doing, which is they can funky it up and they can slow it down. So he will be holding down the back end of this musical smorgasbord here.
Stuff. Yeah, he's a beast. Have you ever watched any of those Drumeo videos?
Yes, I have.
The ones with Chad Smith are wild. He fucking plays the song and he doesn't listen to it first. Like he plays a 30 Seconds to Mars song and he never heard it.
I've always, my whole life, have been into Danny Carey's drum set and Danny Carey type drummers because of it's huge, it's big, it's. But like when you look at like a Chad Smith drum set, it's more in line like an AC/DC drum set. But the amount of stuff that he's going on back there is a lot. Like it's a lot of different roles and this and that, and that's what I think he brings to the table.
So if they make a movie about your supergroup, does Will Ferrell play Chad Smith?
I think he does. I think he has to. He really does.
There you go.
All right. My lead singer. After having this conversation with you guys, it's like so many different lead singers to pick from.
Yep.
Okay. Oh man. I'm gonna go with. I got three in my head, and it's so tough. They're just like going like in a circle to which one it is. And I was going to pick him because you just brought him up because I didn't even think of him. Scott Weiland would have been perfect for this band, but I will not be picking him because he would be perfect for this band. I was also, for some unknown reason, going to pick Beck because doing research on Beck, he could play like 30 instruments on an album. Him mixed with everybody else would have been really great. But you know what I'm going to go with tonight? I'm going to go with Chris Cornell.
You fucker. You mother.
He was also on my list. That is a great choice.
You know what the problem is, Brian, is I overthought the first pick. Because if I really would have thought of you more, I would have known you would have took Prince, and I would have took Prince, and you would have. And I'd started right there.
Wait. Going back,
thought about it, I would have fucked your draft up.
Going back, was Danny Carey? Was Danny Carey your drummer?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, okay. I said Prince was my lead guitar player.
Right.
But, if I would have taken him and you would have taken less, there's a good chance Bootsy was like my backup. So it's funny is there's a lot of mirroring here, and but again, back to Chris Cornell. I mean, I've read things recently too of Chris not sometimes feeling 100% the most confident in his voice at times, which is really crazy when you think about it, because really, 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 what's the word I'm looking for? Excellent vocals. I mean, really excellent vocals.
Absolutely.
His up and down there's only a couple of singers I can think of that could reach the levels in terms of where he goes up and down. It's like him, and like Mike Patton has done it a few times, and I don't know, Freddie Mercury maybe. He unbelievable. He spit on me when I was 13, by the way.
Did he really?
Yeah. It was at a Soundgarden concert. He took a big spit of water and spit it into the crowd and hit me right in the fucking face.
Anytime anyone ever brings up, or I think of even Velvet Revolver, I cannot not think of Audio Slave in the same sentence. And to me, Audio Slave's got some really, really good songs. Honestly, everybody talks about, how awesome Soundgarden is, and they're one of the best. But there are some songs in Audio Slave that are some of the, I mean, I Am the Highway is a great song, and so is Like a Stone. As far as
Coaches, that whole fucking album is aces, man.
But again,
the lyrical content is a little rough. He gets very churchy, a little biblically.
Yeah.
If that's a word, but he was a guy in recovery a million times. He's gonna.
Well, that's the thing, though. There is a lot of religious stuff in Tool too, but that's what it is. It's how you look at it. Unfortunately, when I see Chris Cornell, I just see the rock star. I'm not like, I don't ever think of like the preacher. It's not until like Creed you look at and you're like, maybe he was preaching to me. But he would work in this band, Eddie Van Halen. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Cornell showed up to try out for a vocalist for after Hagar left, before Gary Sharon tested.
That would have been absolutely incredible.
Just imagine how different it could have all maybe. Because Van Halen, I believe, left about 4 or 5 albums on the table because of those years that we were talking about earlier with Eddie not having a vocalist, the fighting with Hagar. I really wish they would have just kept it together, but got some what we got. It's good.
I love your band.
Well,
I would pay lots of money to see that band.
I would.
It's more of like when you listen to them, but then you put them together. Because the truth of the matter is you might not even hear your usual Les Claypool in this band like you usually would hear. Because he is also a pocket player when he could play to what the sound is, and that's what you want. But I'm excited. What do you got? Who's your lead singer here, Roxy?
Okay, so I did have Chris Cornell. He wasn't first on my list, but he was on there. I kind of wanted to spin mine and have go a little bit different for the lead singer. So of the people that I have left, there's probably someone here who would fit a little bit better, like aesthetically, but just in terms of like voice, I'm gonna go Amy Lee from Evanescence.
Ooh, good one.
Yeah,
you just got Brandy's vote for sure.
Oh yeah, I think just the way she carries herself and just all those, from the soft, like I can't name songs obviously right now because we're sitting here trying to talk about them, but like from being that, so it was like My Immortal and stuff, the way that she's able to like to have that lower range and then just spike it up, and just there's that emotion in all of it. I think Chris Cornell, in my opinion, does a lot emotionally, just like in the lyrics themselves. If assuming he's writing his own shit, I don't know. But like Amy, it doesn't have to be. It's like the lyrics are still in depth, but it's the delivery that just really drives it home. And I think just especially with Hetfield and Slash and them being a part of like just those like slower songs, like having Amy take those over, I think would be like a 1-2 punch.
Good one. I always commented to Brandy that I felt like Amy Lee is so versatile with her voice that like being pigeonholed into that genre of rock was always kind of a rough go for her a little bit because she never really got to open up all the way through. But yeah, tremendous voice. It's a great pick, and she goes well with that band. So
thank you.
we lost Tony.
Oh, did we? Now we lost Tony?
Yeah.
Oh, no. It hurts to be the only one. But we were going to press on while you were out. So if you want to press on and pick your singer.
We could talk for a minute. Wait to see if he gets back here.
Cool.
Do you have a name in mind?
Ooh, I don't. I am so not creative when it comes to this kind of stuff. Yeah, I just...
Man.
No.
It's got to be something aggressive, I think.
See, I was gonna almost say something like with the animal. It could be like the Animals or something like that. But knowing this too, knowing Spotify and just what you can search through, there's probably a band name already for like half the shit I want to think of. So I will have to
Amy Lee and the Animals.
I like it.
All right, Tony's back here. So I am taking an audible here with my lead singer. She's not even on my list right now. And I just like looking at Bootsy and Prince, and I'm like, who would go with Bootsy and Prince? Because I think Malcolm will just fall in line no matter what. Screw it, you know. But I think the rest of it's good. I am going off the path a bit, and Tony's gonna know. Tony and I talk about this band a lot, and Cliff Pontier. I could go Cliff Pontier. That's Chris Cornell's alter ego, by the way. But I am gonna go, and she just started a hardcore band as well as her regular band. Well, they're broken up, but I'm going with Brittany Howard from the Alabama Shakes.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
So, I just love listening to her sing. Like she's
very
phenomenal.
talented.
I love that.
Maybe you were gonna go with Garth Brooks' alter ego, Chris Gaines.
Chris Gaines, holy shit! All he did was take his hair and just go like this with it, you know.
75 extra copies at Best Buy, just sitting there. Nobody bought. I'll never forget that. Just racks to see.
How fucking weird was that? Like the guy is the biggest. He wasn't even like the biggest country star in the world. He was the biggest musician in the world. It's like, hey, let's create an alter ego and start I don't even know what kind, like a weird rock band.
What's really odd too is that like he's on the Kiss covers album. He does the song "Hard Luck Woman." He actually does a really good job. But again, you don't need to change your alter ego. Can you just come out with something a little more rocking? But whatever.
No, Kevin, she's not Ron Howard's daughter.
Brittany Howard, though, that's a good pick.
That's a really good pick.
Excellent.
Yeah, if I hadn't taken Malcolm Collins or Malcolm Young, I would have gone with either like Bowie or Stevie Nicks or something like that.
Ooh,
but
Stevie Nicks would have been really good.
Bowie would,
but yeah,
they both would have been really good. Stevie Nicks would have been awesome.
Let's you know what? I got two lists real quick. Let's do that before we get in the dump list. Here's Mailman Jack. He picked a good lead guitar.
Very cool.
There's rhythms, Glenn Campbell, bass guitar, Kim Deal. Chrissy Hines is the vocals. I love the Karen Carpenter pick, man.
Excellent drummer.
Yes. If you've never seen Karen Carpenter play the drums, it's absolutely phenomenal. So good list, Jack. And then Sean, you're gonna have to help me with this one a little bit, Tony, because I don't know some of these people. Okay. Oh, and shout out to our friend of the show, Jackie, who said if none of us take Paul McCartney as our bassist, that it's like an invalidated draft. So.
We did it collectively. Hey, she already had me for when I picked Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time, so that should have covered me for like a year.
There you go.
Do you want me to break down the list for you?
Yeah,
Terry
I mean,
Kath-
I know Tim Reynolds, Carter Beauford's from Dave Matthews
Carter
too, right?
Beauford's Carter Beauford's on the same level as Danny Carey, amazing drummer,
Okay.
can do anything. Terry Kath is one of the most underrated guitar players of all time. He was the guitar player for Chicago until 1978. But honestly, anything hard rocking that you've ever heard out of Chicago was from Terry Kath. And he's just really, really great guitar player. Stefan Lessert, he is also the bass player from Dave Matthews Band. Excellent, excellent bass player. A lot of people, I mean, for a long time, I mean, you can describe Dave Matthews as the same way that Roxy describes Rush. Musically and sonically, they are untouchable. I mean, it's his vocals that are going to get in the way from people not liking the band as much as they could. But if you were to erase his vocals, them as musicians are some of the best. John Lennon, he wasn't even the best singer in the Beatles, but he's a good singer. I mean, I love John Lennon. He's probably my favorite Beatle, but he wasn't the best singer in the Beatles, probably.
Yeah, I say McCartney too. I agree.
I mean, even George Harrison, you might pick over John Lennon. George Harrison had a pretty awesome voice.
Yeah.
And if they would have, honestly, that's what buried the Beatles, is that if they would have if Paul and John just kind of moved out of their way and let George do a whole lot more stuff, they could have stuck around a lot longer. They were
probably
stubborn and saying, you get one song. And then all of a sudden George comes out with like this three album thing that's like the best, but
Here's how the Beatles could have been bigger.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure tonight's poster for the show. I was because I took a picture of Traveling Wilburys. I'm pretty sure I was Harrison in the picture. So
amazing.
Excellent.
But okay, let's do real quick. We'll do a little bit of dump lists. Lead singer. I already mentioned Freddie Mercury, Stevie Nicks. I had David Bowie on my list.
Very nice.
Depending on where the draft went,
Sure.
Mike Patton from Faith No More.
Good one.
I once watched a clip of a vocal coach watch a clip of Mike Patton sing opera, and she went absolutely bananas and said that like he's probably got the most versatile voice she's ever heard. So, but yeah, what else do you guys got?
Go ahead, Tony.
I mean, as stated before, I mean, I was going to go with Maynard. He would have been a good singer because, again, you want somebody who can work with multiple different artists, and Maynard plays in 3 bands. Yep. I mean, when you look at the list here, 1, 2, 3, 4 of the 5 guys have played in multiple bands before. So, I mean, that shows that they could work together. I mean, drummers, as stated, I mean, I'm a drum and bass guy. Those are probably what I like the most. Yeah. So, I mean, you can fit in so many awesome different things in all of these categories. So, real good. I just keep staring at Animal for some reason because I never imagined Animal in a band, but now it's what's going to be in my mind. So, great pick.
Thank you. Yeah. For singer, I primarily wanted to go with the female vocalist direction, just to kind of give it a little spin. I had a feeling, it is what it is, but like women, I didn't think were going to be super common in here other than in the vocal range, just because of their capabilities. But I also had Joan Jett, I had Ann Wilson, I had Dolores. Oh, is it like Riordan or?
That's a part like I didn't even think, because like I'd be like, oh shit. I was trying to think who would fit. Joan Jett would be perfect as a rhythm guitarist too, because you could use her as a regular guitarist.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I had a list that Rolling Stone came out with best rhythm guitarists of all time, and she was definitely like pretty high up on the list actually.
Yeah, as she should. And then I had my lead guitar. I had like Brian May and Jimmy Page, just like ones that. And then the other ones pretty much got covered. The only other thing that I had is in bass I had Kim Gordon from Sonic Youth in there too.
Yeah.
But I feel like she could have been kind of put into a couple different spots. But bass would have been primarily that, if not lead singer. But I was pretty confident with the list I already had. So I would say bass and rhythm guitar were the two that the lists were pretty short for me. So there's definitely room for expansion on that. But the lead singers, I think we all crushed it. Great job.
Yeah.
You do, but replace the whole band, Roxy. That's good.
That's good, Kev. All right, let's go lead guitar. What else do you guys have?
Oh, I mean, honestly,
I fucked up and I just gave my whole list at once. I'm sorry.
No,
yeah, I mean, honestly, that's what I asked you yesterday. Was like, because like I had my band in my head, and it was like it was hard for me to come up with multiple, because like
yeah,
then it's gonna feel like it doesn't match. So honestly,
sure.
I got everything I wanted besides Prince, and I think Eddie can do what Prince can do. So I think we're gonna be okay.
I think you're good.
I mean, I may make
I had a few. I had John Frusciante.
It's a good one.
Stevie Ray Vaughan would have been fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Tom Morello,
Absolutely.
Chuck Berry,
Ooh, okay.
and almost took him Jack White.
I could see that. Yeah, that.
And
Really
by the way, and I'll probably talk with Tony about it on Thursday a little bit, but Jack White's new album is fucking incredible.
Great,
Absolutely incredible. There's no, it's just like the No Name album, but oh my god, it's so good. It's good.
Yeah,
So good.
I saw him at Aragon. No, yes, Aragon in December of 2023. It was very, very good. That was my first time seeing him. I was very impressed.
He's like a cheat code, man. When he plays the guitar, it sounds like 6 people are playing the guitar at once.
It's
Like,
wild.
I don't know how he makes those sounds, you know.
Well, does he do like? Is he kind of similar to? Because like Scott Lucas from Local H, he has the one guitar where the top 2 strings are bass, and then the bottom is guitar, so he can do both. I wonder if there's some kind of a little bit of that in there or something. He could definitely do it. I was just curious.
I don't know, man. He's a fucking freak, and he's revolutionized actual recording as well. He owns, I believe it's the biggest vinyl press in the United States now.
Hell yeah.
And he makes a lot of records for other people out of like reusable stuff. Like he makes a lot like polyurethane products and stuff like that.
Awesome.
So very cool stuff. Rhythm guitar, I only had one more on my list that I didn't, but I just want to mention him, and that's our buddy Pat Smear. It's in 3 of my favorite bands of all time: Nirvana, Foo Fighters, and the Germs. So yeah.
Did you know the Germs lead singer passed away on the same day as John Lennon? And well, nobody really knew about his death because, well, everyone was talking about John Lennon.
John Lennon, yeah. Wow. I didn't know that. I saw a really funny tweet the other day that said that the guy that killed Lennon was accidentally pardoned by Trump when he pardoned all the January 6th people. Oh, that's pretty funny. Bass guitar, I wanted to mention Billy Gold from Faith No More. I don't think he's the greatest bassist of all time or anything like that, but he's so aggressive and loud. I love listening to Faith No More mostly because of the bass. That was what drew me in when I was a kid. Was it so loud and it never was like that overpowering to me when I listen to music and I listen to Faith No More and I'm like, what is that? You know? So just like had a special place in my heart there.
Excellent bassist.
What else? I had Sting on mine just for fun.
Sure. Why not?
I mean, really, you could have taken anybody from the Police because Stuart Copeland's fucking great drummer, and then the guitar. What's the guitarist's name?
Andy Summer.
Andy Summers. When I saw them at Wrigley, that was like 15 years ago, something like that. He was unbelievable. He was the only one that sounded great. Everybody else was like a little behind, but they hadn't played together in like 40 years.
He was probably the one who really needed it. Yeah, definitely. That was really good.
Sweet.
That's about it on my end. Did you guys have any other ones?
No.
Okay. Keith Moon, I wanted to mention. I almost took him for drums, but I took Carrie instead.
Who actually, Animal is actually mimicked after, if you're not familiar with.
We basically picked Keith Moon.
So we basically picked Keith Moon. That was
it's. I just recently saw something with Alice Cooper told a story about Keith Moon like moved in with him and with Alice Cooper and his wife for like a short period of time, and they like would like go out to dinner and come home, and Keith Moon would always be doing something really fucking weird. Like he was cleaning the house in like a French maid costume and like just absolutely truly bizarre stuff.
If you like to read, when I see you, I'll bring his biography, and you'll just. It's actually a really great time.
Biography is just one big word. It's like because Keith Moon's a fucking maniac.
The amount of drink, I mean, it's just insane. It's just insane how much some people can really consume. I mean, I'll just stop there.
He was only like 31, I think.
Yeah, because the problem is when he was like 5 or 6 years younger than everyone else in the Who too. So when they got started, he was like 15 and they were all like 20.
Yeah.
Never really got
wasn't that Bonham too? Wasn't Bonham younger than the rest of the band?
A little bit, but him and Plant were actually a little bit younger than the other two. I mean, him and because they actually were in the band together before Page found them, and then John Paul Jones was a studio musician, so then it was the four of them.
Doing some research today, I was reading about what was the drummer from the Rolling Stones?
Charlie Watts.
Charlie Watts. Kevin and I did make out at a Police concert.
Oh, pretty cool.
Watts, they wanted to have in the band, but they didn't think they could afford him, and then they ended up getting him. So that was kind of funny. Like,
very cool.
Yeah. But all right, yeah. That's about it, man. Thank you guys for being on. This is one that Roxy came up with. This is one we had been trying to plan for a while. I got sick last week, so we pushed it back, and then we had another guest that unfortunately had some family issues that couldn't come on, so we kept moving it around. So, but I'm glad we did this one.
Great.
Yeah, good idea, Rox. This was a blast.
Much great list for everybody. Really big fan of what everybody put out.
Yeah. Tony, you want to plug Thursday?
Yes, me and you, we will be getting together to discuss some music. I will be dropping the time later, and tune in because Brian's going to be talking about some really awesome stuff, and I'm going to accompany him. Brian's just going to talk about.
It's going to be 2 hours of Tom Waits talk, right?
It's only 30 minutes, Brian, so we're going to have to keep it to that.
Fuck.
But
right.
Tune into that.
Sweet. So yeah, Thursday, hook up on music. I'll be on with Tony. Friday, I am going to be on Playback. We're going to dust off our old Playback account, and me and our boy Baloney from the Chicago Sports Bums are going to be watching the 1992 WWF Royal Rumble.
Hell yeah.
So we're going to have a blast doing that. It'll be on after happy hour, which is what the Bums do between 5 and 6. So after that's over, we'll hop on Playback. I think I might hop on happy hour with them for a little while as well. So I'll be on the lookout for that. Next week, I'll be back. Also Tony and Yump will be doing.
We're going to have our third mini episode, and we'll also right after at 8:30 on Friday, we're going to be talking about Samuel Jackson, 5 and 5 Samuel Jackson movies.
Excellent.
That's amazing. I saw that you guys did it at 8:35 last week. It like reminded me of the old like TBS commercials where like everything was on the 5s. You remember that?
That's the way Mr. Yump does it.
Don't forget to watch WCW Saturday night, 5:05 Eastern on TBS. But yeah, it's getting drafty, and he'll be back next week. We're going to be jumping back into movies. I'm going to have Baloney on as well as Steve Niss. We are going to be doing kind of a weird draft. We're going to be drafting movies and one actor from each movie. and then the rest of the movie will be cast by Muppets. So you have to keep that in mind when we draft the movies. So, just example, you draft Die Hard and Bruce Willis, and then you have it in your mind that everything else is cast by Muppets, and then we'll have that conversation as we draft. So
Incredible.
Be a kind of a unique, weird one. I don't think we'll do a poll for that one because I don't think people will understand what the fuck's going on. But but yeah, so thank you very much. Episode 65. Roxy, Tony, love you guys. As always, great to have you on. Thanks everybody in the chat for tonight. Jack, Kevin, Baloney, Yumper. Thank you very much for contributing to the show as always. Also, Sean Jankowski, thank you for providing a list as well. So that's it. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great night.
Good night.
Bye.